to explain to you, which is you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Which is a shortfall from my own side. When you are doing visualization,
Okay.
visualization is usually the summary of your data where people can see and make inference. Like what you said, you really didn't know what you did. So for
Yeah.
this kind of data,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
What do you think are the main take home from this data? This is your data now. What are like the take home from
The
it?
what?
What meaning can you derive based on what you think the data is? What interpretation can you give it? If you want to summarize this data and give it to me, how do you do a summary of this data?
Maybe to get the total revenue
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm listening. Just talk.
for
Total.
I think this data, it makes no sense because the total revenue of the participants, I don't know.
So let's assume somebody give you this data,
Mm-hmm.
assuming I am the CEO of the company working. Somebody got this data from finance department. I want to do a
Yeah.
report to me. What are the likely outcomes of report to you? What kind of how do you do a report? Some report that somebody like me who doesn't have time will look at it at a glance and get the gist of the whole story.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at? Or how would you summarize this data? It's not you do this, but like in what how do you report this data to me?
Okay. Um, I'm still gonna say getting the total revenue for the
We've already established that one.
Hmm.
I'm listening.
Mm, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it.
I'll give you 2 minutes to put your words together and you can tell me.
Um,
Remember, I say summarize the data. So you said total revenue is one.
the gender comprises of female and male, and
Mm-hmm. So why do I need the gender column?
why do you need the gender column?
Yeah, you said it's comprised of female and male. Hence, so what information do I get from female and male?
Then the number of participants.
No, you
Mm.
said let's do it one by one. You said the data comprises of the gender comprises of female and male. What do I do with that? Okay, so there's female and male, and so
Then there's participants. Ah, shit.
yes, I can see that. What do I do with it? Okay, let me just go with you. You say gender, female, male. I wonder what will I will do with it, but said participant. So what do I do with it?
Hmm.
You said total revenue. Total revenue makes sense. So I will you should do a sum of total revenue. It makes sense. So there's gender, female and male. What do I do with it?
Participants. Hmm. I don't think there's anything on the participant except we want to put all the figures beneath it.
Okay, so total participants, is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Then in, in total revenue.
Yeah, you've established that one since.
So I think that's all.
Okay, fine. So let me just show you quickly. I want to do a visual report of this. This is what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
So I have to always use the pivot table for this visualization.
No, you don't have to. But since we've done it, it's one of the methods that you can use. But you are not obligated to. Since it is one of the methods that we have used or we have learned, you don't have to, but you can use it.
Okay.
But you don't have to. You can use formulas and functions to do the same
But
thing.
on my PC, I don't know why it's different from yours because if I go to the private table feeds, it's like it's not bringing everything out completely for me.
No, it is. You are just the one that is not selecting it well enough to bring everything out. So
Okay,
I'll
maybe
go
I'm
to
going to
the
show you next when I use it.
okay. I would appreciate that. So then I can then do this. So depending on what you want to represent, pie chart,
Okay.
I can then do a pie chart. For this, like I said, I'm just going to hide these fields because I don't need it. This is fine as a legend. Depending on where I want to put the legend, I can add the data
Little neighbors.
label. The data label can be inside or outside. Can be in the center, can be best fit, can be data callouts. Anyone. So this represents it. And let's assume that I want to do something like percentage because pie chart usually you don't put numbers. It's not like you don't put numbers, but it's not a good representation. So you always want to get a share of. So I'll just right click, go to the format chart. For this is what I want to format. I'll go to label option, go to number, and maybe change it to percent.
Percentage.
No. This is not it.
No.
Apologies. This is the format. It's supposed to be 0. Okay, so I'm supposed to say the label call out. So I can just click as percentage. Remove value. Maybe increase the so this side instead of number now it will be percentage. So something like this. So you can see that the female total amongst the, so you can then say of the total participant of 321,000, 55% of them are male and 45% of them are female. That is one representation. And that representation is between gender and total revenue. And for me to do this, all I just need to do is, okay, I don't know why this is this. So am I using, okay, so I can go to insert, go to, I see. I don't want here, just want to keep you here. And I'll do this. I'll go to insert and I'll put either a column chart or a bar chart.
Bar chart.
Anyone is fine. So, okay. A column chart. Now, what I want to do is to remove total participant from here. So I'm going to remove this field. Right. And so this becomes wrong. So anyways, it's fine. And so I think basically, you do not want to be putting them in the same table. I'm going to remove this, I will delete. So for total revenue, I'm going to change it into a column chart. And so I'm having some few millions here. Mostly I'm going to remove the grid lines. I also remove the legend as well as the horizontal vertical axis because I already have it here. And so this is one way to go that. So I can then say total revenue. And so I'll say total revenue by what? By gender.
By gender.
So it just makes sense. I have these, then I can then do a pivot table of so I'll just copy this and paste it maybe somewhere maybe around here. What I can then do is to say I want it by total participant and let's see. And if I want, I would make it a percentage of, so I'll just say total participant. Total participant. Go to numbers format, go to number. I want to remove this separator. Click on OK. Now what I can then do is, as I have my total revenue here, I'll just click anywhere here and just do the bar chart. I'm going to hide this. This I'll put it on top. I would say add the data label. Maybe outside, then I'll right click, go to format chart area, click on the data label, go to our label options. I'll then go to percentage and I'll remove value. Then I'll see total participant by gender. I don't even need to say by gender. I'll just say total participant. So we can then get about, we can then do um so basically I can actually say revenue. I don't necessarily need to say by gender. It is self-explaining. So with your two data, I've come up with two different graph and it means two different things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the other one is to manually build it this same way. You do gender, then you do total revenue, then gender, we do total participant
Participant.
manually by typing. And we now do some if, and which pivot table is easier for me to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You understand? If you don't, any questions?
So when you said I don't have to use pivot table to do this, is this still the same thing with me doing the way you just taught me now?
I don't follow.
You said because earlier I asked you that is it a must for me to use pivot table before I get this?
No, it is not. It's just easier, but it isn't. If I
Okay.
want, like I said, I can do, because I already know what I want. Again, this
Yes.
is, I'll say total revenue. I'll say equal to, then I'll say unique, and I'll go to my this, lock it. I'll get this. Then I can then they say equal to sum if.
No, so I have to
What
use
if,
some if
yes,
hmm.
this is my range, this is my criteria, then this is my sum range, right? Lock
Yes.
it. Then I'll do the same thing and drag. I'll now go to the comma add. Now because it's a dollar thing, I can go to custom and say currency and still remove it. So basically it's the same thing as
It's the
this.
same thing, yeah. Okay.
So like I said, it isn't the only pivot table is not the only method, but it is the simplest.
Okay.
Now I want to show you something. Uh Now there's a way you can apply pivot table in such a way. Now let's assume this female here, this female is male. Oh, sorry, is male. Now by the time I click on OK, you see that this figure changes. So because this
Yeah.
is, so hold on. The figure for male changes here to 21 million, but it hasn't changed here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I
Yes.
can do is just to right click here and click on refresh. Now, um, a simpler way to go about that is um, this pivot table is dependent on this particular table, but manually. I can do it in such a way that it will be automatic. So let me just say Control Z and everything goes to normal. Now, I would apply this same pivot table now, but this time around, I will make it automatic. So I'll come here, click on Insert, click on Pivot Table. So this time around, I want to use a new worksheet. After it has selected my table range, including the title, before I click on OK, I'll just click on Add this data to the data layer, to the data model. I'll just click on OK. Now it's going to take a little time to load, unlike pivot table that will just open for me now. But you can see that, this is different.
Yes.
Good. Hold on. Now, why is this important? So let me say I click on gender and I click on revenue and I just do some changes and I say total revenue. So if I put it in dollar up there as the label, I really don't need to format it and put currency dollar again, usually. So I'll just click on OK. Now, watch what happens. If I then go to my sheet 1 and change this to mail, oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Nothing changes, right?
Yes.
Now I'm going to right click and go to pivot table options. Right. I'll go to layout and format. No. I'll go to, I think, data. And I can do, is it data or display? Yeah, so I can go to display. Let me see. What am I even supposed to do? For some weird reason, sometimes. Oh, that's fine, cool. So I'll go to data, I'll go to refresh, click on the drop down and go to connection properties. Now what I can then do is to enable refresh every second, every 60 minutes. Now I want to make it 1 minute. I'll click on OK. So what happens is if I wait for 1 minute, this data is going to refresh. And once it does that, my table will just change automatically to the latest table, to the latest data I actually have here. Let's just give it a minute and watch what happens. You see that it will look like my table just refresh and so on. And before then, I would come to design, go to table, make it tabular. I'll copy and paste it somewhere here. And this time around, I will change change it to particular. You can see that to change it to participant, go to participant, go to number. Again, I'm going fast because we've done this and I don't
Yes.
really need to bother myself. I told you that there's a place you get to. I'll assume you are a professional. Now let's just give it a minute. A minute or so. Yeah. So it is going to refresh on its own. And now, mind you, if you come to sheet 1, my male here is what, 21 million, right? Female is
Yes.
11. Watch what happens after a minute. Just be a little bit patient. It is going to refresh on its own and it is going to give me the latest update. Unfortunately, the minimum you can do a refresh for is 1 minute. And so, again, is the least that can happen here. So just give it a minute and hopefully, while it is doing that, let me check my message to see what is happening. So you can see that, can you see?
Yes. Oh, nice.
So that is the difference between it and just, you see, this is the same pivot table, but it didn't
Yes.
refresh. All I just need to do is just to click here and refresh. Now,
Mm.
what happens if I change it to the participant? Now I just put 100 here. This one I just put 100, maybe 100,000 here. Nothing happens for this until I refresh. and even the participant here, nothing happens until I refresh, right?
Yes.
Now, by the time I go to my sheet, I have to wait a little. I still have 206 where this one is 176. Why is it showing me 209? Interesting stuff. So we'll just wait a little and it's going to refresh. Let me know when it does. I'll just increase it.
Okay. That's reflected. That's reflected. Are you there?
Sorry about that.
All right,
So
fine.
you saw it change, right?
Yes.
So that's the difference between just putting a pivot table and making it, clicking on the um, add data to this table. You can set it in such a way that you will do some form of automation after a while, and it is going to automate. And so the advantage to it is that, so if I then do a visual,
Yeah.
so I do this visual, I let me just hide this, add the data label, right click, go to format area, click on the data label itself, go to label option, go to percentage, maybe put this percentage outside, or maybe I'll just say total participant if I want, and 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 hold on, and maybe I do the same for these. Go to insert, go to bar chart, I'll go to column chart. I would remove legend, remove grid line, put no, I'll just put data label, remove the this axis. Now what I can then do is to say maybe total revenue. Let's see, revenue. Now I can then create a sheet, a visualization sheet here. Sheet 4, I'll say visuals. And for sheet 2 here, sheet 3, I would say with data, I'll just say data model, just so we can tell the difference between both of them. And for this, I'll say total participant, I'll say data model. This is not the best approach. It's just I want to use a this thing. I want to be able to differentiate the first set of visuals that I did with. So I'll right click, move chart to. I'll just go to visuals, click on OK. I'll do the same thing for this, and there's a reason why this is important. Maybe I'll just do this. Maybe I'll put my legend at the top. Now, compared to these two, yeah, I think I can. Oh, I can't move them. Interesting. I can only move one at a time. So I'll take it to visual. So we'll assume that this is the ordinary pivot table without adding it to as a data model. And I'll show you the difference in about a minute or two. Now, now you can see the numbers, right?
Yes.
They are the same. Now I'm going back to the data now. I'll change this to female. And I'll change this to maybe 60,000. Maybe I'll change this to 4 million or 40 million rather. So I'll go back to visuals and wait a little. Just give it a minute and you can see that right now male is the one that is leading on both ends. You see the difference now. So you can see for female and male it is 50-50, but you see this guy is still the same thing.
Yes.
While for, you understand, this is because this is linked to data model and it will refresh after 1 minute. Now for me to be able to get this one up to speed with this, I have to go to the data itself and right click refresh, and you can see that it has refreshed to 17 million. When I go, it has done the same thing. Now if I come back here and see male and I choose maybe 100 million, or no, let me say 100 million, let's say 60 million, and I see, I just leave it this way. If I go back to the visuals, nothing happens. If I give it a minute, you'll see that only the first two will automatically update. You can see it has updated.
Yes.
While this is still left. Now there's nothing I can do here. I have to go back to the table for this, the pivot table for this refresh, and to give me what is up to speed. Then if I go here, that's when I'll now see the changes. Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is some way that you can use to automate your visuals and your pivot table. Please, this is as simple as it is. You don't need to just watch. If I would advise you to strictly stick to these videos that we are doing first, then
Okay.
it's only when you're doing, don't come. Look, people will confuse you. You just stick to whatever it is that is being done.
Mm.
I understand the enthusiasm, wanting to get the answer right, but in trying to confuse yourself with other tutorials, you always get the answer wrong. And it's not for the fact that what they are doing is wrong, is you are not yet as grounded to be able to
Sure.
say, oh,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
But
Makes
there will
sense.
come a time where that should not be a problem because you are well grounded, you know how to navigate your way, and
Yes.
you
True.
just do. But right now, I advise you to stick to this video, whatever you don't understand. And I think everything seriously I give you is not out of what was taught. It's just, oh, okay, how do I apply this? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
going to say, let me share this with you. I'll just save this book one. I'll share it with you. Please make the habit of renaming your workbook
Mhm.
to something that is readable, please.
Okay.
If you send me book one, I don't know what it is on, and
All
you
right.
don't want to be found doing that.
Okay.
Always make the habit of re uh, renaming your file. It is very important, extremely important. Like it, I cannot emphasize the importance. Your file can tell somebody what to expect in
Mm.
your your data itself. It
Oh,
can tell, it can give somebody heads up.
okay.
Understand? You can put, so usually how I name workbooks, what I can then do is to say, I'll just press, so for this, I'm going to go to save as because this is already saved.
Yeah.
I use save as, maybe take it to the downloads. I'll say 2025. Today is 24th. So already this, what information does this give you? It gives you that most likely I am sending the file on a particular date. I can then
Yes.
see data
Visualization.
visuals, visualization, so you know what to expect. I
Yes.
can then see, pie and column chart.
Charts. Oh,
Does this make sense?
yes.
Does it give you an insight as to what you'd expect?
Yes, right.
So it is one of the first things I think I had to learn, and that's because you can have a boss that will ask for multiple requests, and if you don't name it well,
Mm.
you say book one, book two, book three, book four. In itself, it's frustrating to.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any motivation for me to want to open that data. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
A lot of sense.
Cool. So today I will just be introducing you, and we'll be going back and forth with some practice before we'll leave Excel very soon, maybe next
Okay.
2 weeks, most likely in the next 2 weeks. And trust me, you need to know this stuff. Like you really need to know it before we move on. Like it is important. I cannot expect and emphasize its importance. Now, um, so if you have any questions, please ask. I do not want us to come back here and be going back and forth on this. I will give you some. Oh, I do have some assignments to give you. To hmm, I have some assignments, some crazy assignments to give you. So now I want to do a little introduction to you on data types and files. So let me go to view, go to view. So data types. Now a data type is sorry, hold on.
All right.
Um so I would in this case use this data set. So this is a data set or a table.
Yes.
This is a data set or a table. In this data set or this table, we have what they call our column header, which are the first column, which is the first row, and we have the value of each of these columns. So these are the values. Now for gender, you are expecting to see either what, male or female.
Yeah,
If
female.
I say in one of these genders, I now say Dorcas, does this make sense?
No.
I can say,
No.
oh, Dorcas is a lady. I'll just put female.
Yes.
But putting
Yes.
Dorcas there does not make sense. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You are expecting male or
Name.
female.
Name. Yeah.
For participant, if I say female, does that make sense?
No.
For
Kind of.
participant, if I say sorry. For
Mm.
participant, if I say this 28,000, I now say 28,000. Does this make sense?
No.
Why? It's 28,000 now. Why doesn't it make sense?
It's written in words. I don't know.
Words. So so I said the same thing, 28,000, which is a representative in words of 28,000 in value. But I'm
Mm.
expecting a valued called
Mm-hmm.
number,
Number. Yes.
28,000. They are not the same thing.
Mm.
So each of these column header or title is expecting a data type,
Mm-hmm.
which brings me two data types. And I think I'm going to close this because I'm done using it and it is disturbing me. And so which brings me to data types. So data types are formats you actually give to your data that I want it to be of this type, of this format. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
we have numeric data types, we have alphabetical data,
Alphabetical.
alphabetic data types, and we have boolean data types. For numeric, we have decimal. There's also float, which are decimals. There's integer. There is, I think they call them real numbers. If you do check your algebra, then we have complex number. Yes, but these are, we will not deal with this. Um, we also have array, but we will not be dealing with this. We have array or lists. These are data types. They call them structure. We have a dictionary. We have is anyways. Basically, we will not be dealing with this stuff. Let me just delete it. Let me not confuse you. For alphabets, we have text. We have alphanumeric.
Oh, numeric.
Alphanumeric. I think for Boolean, basically, is either true or false. True or false. You have 1 or 0, male, female. These are Boolean. Something that is either one or the other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, we then have for files, we have different file types. For file itself, so we have different file types. Your file is that document you see, whether be it in Word. So we have .docx, which is in
Um,
Excel. This Word. So these are, sorry, for Microsoft Word. So just a Word document. Word, we have .docx. For PowerPoint, we have what? .ppt. Check it. So no, sorry, they are I wouldn't say file types. They are what they call file extensions, or you can say file types, extensions. How you store a file. So for Excel is what? .xls
what's
or
this?
.xlsx. These
Oops.
are the two. Then they have what they call CSV, file
Mm.
extension called CSV. It is called comma separated value. Uh, separated value. We have what they call JSON, JavaScript object notation, if I remember correctly. JavaScript object notation, I think. Let me see the full meaning of JSON. I hope I'm not full meaning of JSON. So yeah, JavaScript object notation. So it's something like this. We have .pbix, which will come to do. We have .sql, which will come to do as well. We have .txt. These are text. This is a text file. This is a SQL file. This is a Power BI file, and so on. We have for pictures, we have the file extension for pictures are .jpg, JPEG, PNG. For videos, you have .mkv, we have .mp4,
MP4.
we have .wmv, I think, and so on and so forth. They have MPEG. MPEG is MPEG 4, I think, if I remember correctly. For audio, we have .mp3, I think there is there are many audio files as well. So each file has like a file extension and type, and there's a reason why I'm mentioning this, and that's because we would actually be dealing with some of these files in the next in the next topic we want to get to. Now the next topic we want to get to is Power Query. And also please remind me, I wanted to tell you something about tables as well.
Okay.
But okay, so basically this is how we'll be dealing with some of these data. Now I want to show you something. In reality, this is not really an ideal Excel table. It just looks like one, but it's not really ideal. In order for you to make this a table, you are going to apply a table format to this, and so this is what they call 28,000. Now see, watch what happens when I change this to a table. So in order for me to apply a table to this, I'll go to insert and I'll go to what, see table here. I'll just click on table. I can see it has already highlighted, like pivot table, it has highlighted where it thinks is the table for me. From Q2, which is here, to what, S12, which is here. It said my table has a header, yes or no. My table actually has a header.
Yes.
Which is what, gender, participant, and revenue. Now if I click, watch what happens if I click OK. You can see that it changes completely.
Yeah.
Now if I go to table design, I can name this my table to whatever it is I want to name it to. So I'll just say, if I go to table design, there's a table name here that I can name it to whatever. I can say Dockers table, because you are the one that, I don't know where you got this table from.
From our work.
Huh?
It's on our work. My assignment, yes.
So I'll just say Dockers. Now, if you want to give this table name, I put Dockers table and it gave me an error. Why is that? I have to put an underscore. You can see verified that name starts with a letter or underscore. Does not include a space or character that isn't allowed. Does not complete with an existing name in the workbook. So if I want to say Dockers table, I'll just say underscore table, and I'm done. Now, anytime, so watch what happens. Watch what happens. If I say equal to, I'll now say Dockers. Can you see that I now have it as is a formula?
Yes.
I'll just click on it and I'll just click on OK. Can you see?
Yes.
All I just need
Yes.
to do is also call the name of the table, and because I already have it, and so it's one of the things I think I like about table. But this is the sad part. Now, say I want to do that summary that I did before. I'll say equal to unique. Um, watch what happens when I try to. I see. So you
Oh,
can see it say Docker
that's
table
stable.
all and gender.
And
So all the values under it, then the gender. Do you understand? And
yes.
I'll just click on OK. And you can see it has given me this, but it is showing me something different, not like a range of values. So it's just telling me all the values under it, then what am I selecting? The gender column. Now, if I then want to do a total revenue as well as I want to do total participant, right? So I'll say equal to sum if, and my range of is where my criteria is. I'm just going to highlight everything here. So you can see that I just said the Dockers table, the gender, right?
Yes.
And instead of saying from Q2 to Q12, you just say Dockers table, then gender. That's the name of the column. Then what will I then do? I want to do my criteria. This will be my criteria here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to lock it. Then the next thing will now be what? My sum range. Now I can just say
Range.
Dockers table, then I will now say put a square bracket, and I will now say I want the what?
Participants.
Revenue. No, total revenue. That's what I want. Then I'll just end with a square bracket and this. And you can see I've gotten whatever it is I've gotten. I'll just click on enter, and you can see now for the same thing as total revenue, I can then apply my number and maybe reduce it to this, which I think it's the same thing as what we did before. Now, um, the same thing with total participant, I'll just say equal to sum if, and so my range, I'll just say Dockers. Because I already know what I want to, what name of my table. I'll say Dockers, I'll now say gender, which I already have here. You can see that's highlighted it for me.
Yes.
The whole of the values there. I will then say my criteria will now be this. I'm just going to put the dollar sign in front. This one, for this table I can't put dollar signs because it's not showing like a range. Now I'll now say Dockers table, and I will now say what I want to do participants. I just look down and just do this, and I'm good. And I will just do this and basically apply this format here. But for this, I would do not number. I'll put counting right and reduce the zeros. So, I want to put numbers, not account, currency, not accounting. I reduce the zeros. So basically, but you can see that now because I've converted it into a table and I've named the table, instead of me having to call the range of values, I'll just call the name of the column itself, and it will assume that I'm talking about the full range.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Right.
That's if I'm to select everything there, but it doesn't mean I cannot select a range of values. So see, I can just select like this here, and I'm good. Do you understand? It will show me Q4 to S7. It doesn't mean I cannot select a range of values inside that table. It's just that if I want to select the full table, it's going to give me the name of the table that I'm selecting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So if I want to call the name of if I want to get the values, so for instance, I just say equal to Dockers table, I will then say participant. I'll just put and then I'll say participant, and I'm good. I'm just going to get only the values in participant. Does that make sense? And there are some
Yes.
other cool things you can do with the table. So I wanted to put this out there before we move forward. Now, how do you move forward from here? Good. So, remember our finance. Hmm, uh, okay, let me open this. So remember this finance here, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to remove this because I want to do some things. Remember that this is there, but I just want to remove this for the meantime.
Okay.
Um, hmm. Okay, cool. Just remember that that is there. Now I'm going to close, or better still, I will save as. Remember, you do have a file here. I'll go to documents. I'll go to this folder. I'll go to Dockers and I'll put Excel file here, but I actually want to create a Power Query file. And I'll just save it as financials. Now, mind you, look at the extension type. Excel workbook. So you are expecting what? .xls or XLSX. That's what it means. I'll close it. Now, this is my a new workbook. I want to import that data in my Excel workbook that is called that this Excel workbook I just saved. I want to import it to a new um I want to import it to a new table or to a new file. I don't want to touch that file. I want to import it to a new workbook. Do whatever it is I want to do with it, but the main data I want to leave it the way it is, or the source data I want to leave it the way it is. How do I do that? I can do that with the help of Power Query. Power Query is a very interesting tool. I can use it to import other data source from a particular location. I'll bring it to somewhere else. I'll do whatever it is I want to do with it, but it will not touch the source data. It will only affect real time, currently what I'm doing. Now, in order for me to invoke that, how do I do that? Two things I can do. You Power Query, you can get data from external source, and um, you can use the data that is inside this particular workbook. For instance, this guy. For instance, this guy. Now, I'll do the two. I'll do the first one. Now, let's assume that I want to use this data elsewhere, but I don't want to touch the how will I say? I do not want to touch this data in itself. I just want to just do some crazy manipulation. I don't know. I just want to use it somewhere. In order for me to do that, let me get a reasonable data that I can use here. Okay, let me use. Okay, let me use this data. I'll just fetch some part of it. Control C. I'm gonna paste it here. Control. So let's say this is my data. I want to add the month name, the month number, and the year. That's what I want to do, but I don't want to touch it like this. I just want to do it somewhere else. The first thing I'm going to do, the way I'm going to apply it the same way I apply my insert. I'll go to data, right? I'll go to the source of my data. Now, the source of my data here is from table or range. Basically, I want to say from this particular table. I'll now click on dot table or from table or range, and it is going to highlight my table for me like the way pivot table does. It will tell me that where is the data for your table, and it has already told me where data for my table is. My table has a header. Yes, I'll click on this. You see this checkbox here
Mm-hmm.
is what they call a Boolean value. So it's either no or yes. Basically, yes, no, true, false, positive, negative. That's what they call a Boolean value. I'll then click on OK. Um, so what is then going to happen is that another pop-up that is built in inside Excel but doesn't look like Excel is going to come up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, for the purpose of this exercise, I will delete this first for the purpose of this exercise. In fact, let me go back. I don't want this card. I'll go back to my data, go to from table range. Oh God, I made a mistake then. I didn't want this to have happened, but yeah, it does. Anyway, now notice something. It is still giving me the same data from the table. Nothing is different here. It's basically giving me the same thing. Like you'll be wondering, so why do I have to go through the extent of having to go through this route? Why can't I just go through the main route by just playing with it directly? Mind you, I said that I want to touch this data without having to physically do anything here. I want to do whatever it is I want to do elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's just more or less like playing in a but you know when you play game, you die, you repeat again.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you die in midnight.
Yes.
So basically that is what I'm trying to do. Now, but it unfortunately enough, it goes beyond here, but let's assume that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, cool. Now, if you notice on the title, you see something here. Are you noticing this?
Yes. Yeah.
So ABC, what does that tell you? ABC. If you look at point 1 2, why is this not reading ABC?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm asking why.
Why is it not reading ABC?
So this is ABC, this is ABC, this is ABC, this is ABC, but this is 1.2. Then this one is 1 2 3. This one is 1 2 3.
Maybe because it's figures.
Exactly. So these are data types. That data types I was referring to. Each column is supposed to have a data type it belongs to. Look at for these dates, you can see.
Yeah.
It's showing something like a calendar and a time.
Yes. Yes.
Now, these are data types. Now, for these are text. If I click on this ABC here, I'll see different data types. I can format this data to. So decimal, currency, whole number, percentage, these are not that data type. I can see text. Text is ABC, which makes sense. True or false, which is Boolean. This is binary, 1 or 0. Duration, which is time, seconds. This is time. There's date time, there's percentage, there's whole number, currency, as well as decimal. Now, whatever value is here is not any of the above except text, because these are texts. For units sold, you can see it's decimal. Now, I mentioned earlier that anything that has to do with unit is in multiples of 1. So you are not supposed to be seeing 0.5. If they say unit is a measure of 1, how many times can you have 1? Do you understand? You can't have 1 0.5 times. You can't have 1 1.5 times. You can only have 1 once, twice, by 3, by 4, up to a million. So you can only have a unit in whole number. So in other words, what we can say for this unit sold is that this is not the correct data type. This is supposed to be a whole number and not decimal. So I'll just click on this 1 point. How do I know? Because decimal number means 1 point. Whole number is one that is 1, 2, 3. I will then click and change the data type from decimal to whole number, and watch what happens. Can you see some points here? 0.5, 0.5 here. So if I change the data type to whole number, you see. So now look at what has happened. It has noticed that I want to do something. What Power Query does is that anything I do, it will record it as a step. It is recording whatever it is I do as a step. And where does it record it? It records it in these applied steps. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's saying that change column type. The selected column has an existing type conversion. Would you like to replace the existing like that? Oh yes, I would like to do that, but I don't want to do it as replace. I want to add a step. You understand? Now watch what happens. So if I say replace, it has replaced it inside this particular step. Let me go Control Z. I don't know, is there a Control Z? Oh, there's no Control Z, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to discard. I'll repeat the same process. There's no going back. Control Z is to undo. I'm going to do this same process now to whole number, and it will repeat the same thing. Now, this time around, I want to add a step instead of replace. I'll just add a step. Now, watch. Can you see under my applied steps? You can see change type 1. Now it is recording these things for me and it's keeping it down for me. Do you know why it is doing that? In case if I have newer entries to my data, what it will do for me is that it will automate that process for me because it has already recorded everything that I did. So and it is best practice that whatever step you take, try and name that step. So change data change type doesn't make any sense. So what I can do is to right click on this applied steps, right click on it, I'll rename it. I'll say, what did I do? I change data type of what? Of unit sold column. Is this more, how will I say, is this more self-explanatory? Does this make more sense?
Yes.
Or I can just say right click, rename. I'll just say change. I'll just say unit sold because again, unit sold is in itself self-explanatory. You understand? To just give you an idea. Oh, you don't want to actually do applied step with a very long name. Right. So now it has already changed my data type for me. But if I go to this place, you can see that it's still showing what 1618.5. But look at, I've changed the data type and it's not really affecting what I'm doing here. So like I said, it's like a game, a virtual reality where you can die and play again. This is not real life, basically. Now, so now for sales, anything that has to do with money, revenue, it is best you save it in decimals. So something like cost of goods sold, change it to decimal. something like discount is in money, change it to decimal. Something like sales price, manufacturing price, change it to decimal. Or you can change it currency if you want. You understand? You can change it currency if you want. Uh, no. Uh, yeah, so you can change it currency if you want. Uh, let's see, currency if you want. I'll add a step to currency. So these two, I'll just change to currency. You can see it has changed it automatically. It's changing it to currency for me. It's looking currency-ish. You get
Yeah.
currency. So for this now, I can just say change uh, money columns to currency. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because or I don't need to say I'll just say money columns to currency. You understand? Um, then for this last one, you can see that there is a time here, but in reality, there is not any time here. It's just a date. I'll just click on this data type here and I'll just go to date and I'm good. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, you might say, what am I doing really? What is it I'm doing? Now, like I mentioned, Power Query is an extremely powerful tool. It will record your step and it will help you. In addition to what I said, it records your steps, and in addition to recording of steps, it helps you automate your process. So it's like somebody who wants to copy, for instance, maybe you have like a secret, maybe um you do food, like you sell food in the UK, maybe you do home delivery services,
Mm-hmm.
and you have this certain meat pie or certain delicacy that you have like a secret ingredient how you cook it, that even though somebody cooks the same way as you do, but they don't really get it right, and they will come and carry camera and come and maybe while you are not watching or maybe with your
Yeah.
consent record all the steps you take, record everything, and they will now go back to the comfort of their kitchen, and they are going to play the video and um, basically watch everything you did real time and try and replicate what you did. So Power Query is more like that recording, and by the time it records everything you do, you can then apply it using that record somewhere else. You can replicate that particular record somewhere else using the same scenarios, using the same conditions. So, for instance, somebody who wants to bake cake, we have flour, we have eggs, we have their yeast, they'll have butter. For people
To
that
add their
like,
flavor.
sorry,
To add their flavor.
yeah, the flavor. If they want to add some cream, they
Yeah.
will do that. If they want to add
Sugar.
sugar, oh, they can add either sugar or whatever it
Oh
is, that
yes.
maybe honey. What else? They can have their cream and milk if they want to. What else? What day else days for cake? Yeah, basically that will be it. Now, in as much as you are going to use all of these ingredients, it means that your recording fits those ingredients. But imagine you did a recording for cake and you now carry
Mm-hmm.
rice and pepper and oil and meat. Is the recording going to help you?
No.
No, not really. It will not, because you are applying whatever it is you record in the wrong ingredient. So in as much as your data is the same thing, then it means that Power Query will work. So it works in the same type of data you're actually working on. I'll explain what that means. Now, another thing is So let's say I'm done with what I want to do. Okay, I want to add the month name, the month number, and the year. What do I do? I can say I'll go to shoot. Okay, I think. Oh, I can go to add column. I want to add a new column, and in the new column, what do I want to do? I want to say month name. You understand that? I want to say January, February, March, and so. If I go to add column, they are different this thing, but for dates, look at date here. I can just click on the drop down. I'll go to month and I'll just say month. You can see it has given me month. Actually, this is not what I wanted. I wanted the month name first. I'll just clean that particular record. You can see that the table has disappeared. I'll go back to date. I'll click on my column. I'll go back to date. I'll go to month, and I want to go to month, name of month. That's what I want. So you can see it has inserted month name for me with some formulas. Don't worry about this. I'll just go to my right and I can see my month name here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Then inside my add column ribbon, I'll go to my date because I want to add the month number. I'll go to my date. I'll go to while selected. So while selecting what the column I want to do, whatever it is I want to do on, I'll go to the date. I'll go to the month and I will just click on month. And you can see it. It will just insert month. And you can see it says inserted month name, inserted month. Then the last thing I want to do is to insert the year. I'll just click on my date, go to the dates under my add column and go to year, and I'll just say click on year. And you can see to add it to my right part. Can you see how I automatically generated these three without any effort? Hello.
Yes.
Cool. Now I can then decide to say, I want to rename my table to financial. Maybe I'll say data set. And when I'm done naming, I'll just click elsewhere. You can see that it changes here, right? So if I just say Docker's financials, I'll say, let me just say Docker's, let me see, Docker's financials. If I just click elsewhere, watch what happens to this particular place here. So you can see that's changed to Docker's financials.
Financials, yes. Yes.
Cool. Now, when everything is said and done, I will just say, I want to exit this Power Query. I'll just click on File. I would click on Close and Load. But usually, I like to click on Close and Load too. Now, just give me a moment. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Please hold on.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Now,
Fine.
what I want to do is, you can see that this prompt comes up that import this data. It is telling me that my Power Query, whatever that I did, how do I want to manage it? I usually want to manage it as a connection, usually. And yeah, so by the time I'm done, I'll just click on OK. And then I can then see the Power Query here as a connection on its own. Does that make sense? I don't
Yes.
want to do anything to it. So let's say, for instance, my first table here, it was 1/1/2014. And I made a mistake. I wanted to make it 2025. Right. Now that I made it 2025, let's say I'll make this 12, which is December, and maybe I'll make it, so it will be December 31st. Let's say 31st December 2024, for instance. I think, oh, sorry, I think it is the month that come before the day, right? So I'll say here is 12. The month in Excel is month that come before the day. I'll say 31st. Yeah. Now that I'm done, I would then say, oh, now that I've made some changes here, let me go and make my changes in my Power Query, the data that I did. I can then go to my Power Query. Let's assume that I don't see anything here. What I can just what I can just do is to go to my data, go to query and connections, and it then shows in case if it disappears. Just go to query and connections. Then I will right click on whatever it is I have here and just click on edit, and it will open my Power Query. And guess what happens when I go to my data? Can you see 12 December, December 31st, 2024. So you can see that the month name changed from January to December. The month is 12 and year is 2024. I really didn't need to touch it again. It will automatically apply whatever it is that it recorded and do whatever it is that it needs to do. I don't need to say under the column month name, I will change it to December, the month 12 and year to 2024. I already just needed to change the main data and it will automatically help me do the rest. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So basically that is why I kind of like um Power Query. Now, this is one approach. This is one approach. So I'll just close and load when I'm done. Now, if I want to make this particular query into a table and not a connection, what I can do is to right click. I would say I'll right click and click on load to, and I will load it as a table. And it will now ask me like pivot table, do I want to put this data here or I want to take it to a new worksheet? I'll click on new worksheet. I usually like to add this data as a add this data to the data model. I like doing that. I don't know why. I'll click on OK. Now you can see that it has automatically created a worksheet for me that has Docker's financials. Does that make sense? Then if I then go to my worksheet and maybe I made a mistake, I want to change this to the first January 1st, 2014. You can see I've changed this to January 1st, 2014.
Yes.
Now, nothing happens here. What I can then do is to click on this refresh. Can you see this refresh here? Or if I want, I'll click on refresh here. And it is going to take some time. And you can see it has adjusted to January 1st, 2014. I really didn't need to do this again. Like I didn't need to make, I've made a mistake, I've made a change. And you can see that on its own, in the source file itself, stops at date. But for this, it went further to month name, month, and year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So these
Yeah.
are So this is dependent on the source data. Any other thing I add would only be on this particular data. It will not affect this. So let's say I want to do my changes. Now, watch what happens. Let's say I come here and delete everything, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I've deleted everything. How do I do that? I can say Control Z if I want, but I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to say Control Z. Oh, now, even if I delete everything here, it doesn't really matter. Once this, I click on refresh,
Refresh.
it automatically come back. So actually this data, I cannot do anything regarding it. I can't edit anything here. If I want to edit anything here, I have to right click, go to edit,
Okay.
and
Mm.
does that make sense? Now,
Yes.
one thing I want to do is I want to change the name of United States to
United Kingdom.
no, just USA. What I can then do
Okay.
is to highlight my column. Now you see that find and replace I would do. I will just go to, I think, transform, and I'll say replace value. What do I want to replace? I want to replace United States of
President of
America,
America.
which is United States of America to what? USA.
USA.
And I click on OK. I can see it has changed, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I'm done, I'll just click on, oh, and maybe I want to click, okay, this is one other thing I want to do. I want to change the each and every, everything, every value in this my segment. I want to change it to uppercase. What I can do, right, is to go to, I can go to transform and go to format. I'll click on this drop down here. I'll say uppercase, and it automatically change everything to uppercase here. Mind you, this replace value, I replace USA in country column. Then, sorry, country column. So it's good practice that you rename all your steps here. Then for here, I would say uh, change segment to uppercase. So I then know what to do. I then know what I've done. Then when I'm done, I'll just click on file, I'll click on close and load to. Now you can see that this is taking the former data. Watch what happens. It will load and you can see that's loaded the new stuff without affecting the main data. The main data is still where it is, it's still the way it is, it has not shifted. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I want to add new data to this stuff. Let me go to the main where I fetched my data. I'll add from here now to this place here. New data. I would add, so my table, I will drag it a little just so I can accommodate new data. Now, when I right click and go to edit, or I refresh this, you'll see something, refresh. You see that it will just drag um, extra stuff here. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing there. Now, I will then go right click and I would, okay, so I did not copy it. So Control C. Now, this is a new entry. I will just right click here and paste as value, as I usually like to do that. I've pasted as value, right?
Yes.
I've pasted new value from, I think, 24 down to 31. Now, I will just go to my pivot table, I say pivot table, my Power Query table. I'll just refresh what happened. Look, watch what happens. Can you see? These are my new data.
Yes.
I really didn't need to do anything. I just needed to take those 4 steps, and any new data I add, it will just apply those things I did to the new data.
Mm,
Does that make
wow.
sense?
Yes.
So I only needed to do it once. And when I'm done with it once, it will help me do the rest. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. What else? What else? I can also do certain calculations and so on and so forth. What? Okay, so um, sorry about that. I'm thinking about
Mm,
something I want. Oh, let me not go too far. But this is how to actually use Power Query. So basically, your Power Query is meant to automate reporting. So as you see, Power Query, it is extremely important in automation. So use it to automate reporting. Does that make sense?
yes.
Cool. So anyways, you should try and practice. I'm not going to go too far here. We are going to be dealing with a lot after this, and between now and that time, we are also going to be playing with a lot of um, examples, exercise techniques, and yeah. Any questions?
No.
You are beginning to feel it, right?
I don't want to say yes.
But is it interesting so far?
Yes, it is. It's interesting, you know. Every day I learn new things, so it's very interesting.
That's the goal. You should learn new things, not just learn. You should perfect it.
Yes,
Perfect it.
right.
See, so for the past close to 8 or 9 years, I think almost every day on it, almost I cannot not remember when I did not open my laptop, my PC to do Excel. I don't think I can remember.
Wow.
But I mean for the past about 8 years or thereabout.
Imagine.
Interesting
Wow.
stuff.
Wow.
And you get to learn a lot of things if you keep practicing, and
Yes.
things tend to stay in your head. You retain it. You don't necessarily need to go and be checking tutorials unless you
Yeah.
are you want to you want to apply something you don't know to get or achieve a particular result. How I stumbled into Power Query was I do automation using writing complex. I'll build my own function in Excel. But the unfortunate thing is when I want them take this file and give it to any other person to view whatever it is I've automated, the Excel workbook is always crazy heavy. And maybe some people have problem because their PC don't have a lot of processing power and they end up struggling with the
Mm,
file. And I think that is how I adopted Power Query. And it gives you the option of writing a whole lot of formulas and functions
yeah.
without the hassle of um, um, without the hassle of uh, making the file very heavy. So, for
Mm,
instance, if I want to check how many number of no, I will not do that. We'll do that tomorrow. Just some
okay.
further. So what you can then do is to take the financial data set and play with it the way I did just now.
Okay.
Um, in the exact way I did it.
Okay.
Do not just copy it in one place, apply, go to your data, go to um, table range. If you give you the table range, this is our Power Query table. This is our table. You understand?
Yeah.
And you can just play with it. Let me know how it goes.
Okay. I will.
Make sense? If
Yes.
you have any questions, try and reach out to me. I'll be glad to respond to any of your questions.
All right.
So we might do some practice between now and next week, then maybe upper week. We spent a lot of time doing Microsoft Excel. I did not envision us taking this long, but I think it is worth it. We are supposed to do Excel for like 6 weeks, but
Mm,
again, it is worth it.
yeah.
We are in the today is 24th. I think we are in the 7th week.
Mm,
Yeah. So, but again, it is worth it because the rest are very easy. And personally, I would like to take my time. I don't think I want to rush this.
okay. Okay. The rest are very easy.
No, 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 not easy per se, but they are very easy to do. On
Okay.
my own part, I don't know of you, but they are very easy to do.
Okay. All right.
So, but I don't think we are not supposed to spend more than 4 months for this stuff. So,
No, more
and we
than 4 months.
started, yeah, we started April, and I intend for us to finish everything.
July.
Hopefully, if we are alive and well by July.
Amen.
Uh,
Yes.
so um, well, if you don't have any questions, you have access to the financial data set. Try and play with it, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And let me stop recording. I would share the